Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
So many of y'all were down bad. So many of y'all thought the season was over because they lost 2 games in a row to the Atlanta Hawks. So many people had so many hot takes about the Cleveland Cavaliers after losing just a couple of games. It's almost like we forgot that they were 17-3. So coming into this game Sunday, I saw some mopey faces talking about the Celtics game. I saw some faces that thought, we can't win. We're not going to beat Boston. Look how we're playing. But the Cavs have superstars. Those superstars showed up. Unlike in that first game versus Boston. And then lo and behold, you beat the Boston Celtics here in Cleveland. Huge win for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And look, we said it when it happened. Not having Isaac Okoro was a big deal for this Cavs team, right? They did not have Isaac Okoro when they last played the Celtics, and that mattered. And you saw it down the stretch when Isaac Okoro was playing lockdown defense on Jason Tatum at the end of this game. Like, his presence super matters, especially in this situation. He didn't really do much offensively. Didn't take that many shots, though, right? 2 shots, cashed them both. They was threes. They was both cash money. Made them. Bam. That's exactly what you want from Isaac Okoro, right? We're not expecting Isaac Okoro to be offense extraordinaire, to be a killer on the offensive side of the ball. What we are expecting from Isaac Okoro is to be able to play defense and make those shots. And he played defense. He made those shots. I'm super proud of how Isaac Okoro played in this game. Let me slow it down. Let me slow the tempo down. I came out here ready to fire off on the world, ready to talk about the world because the Cavs won this game. But let me slow it down, talk a little bit here. I thought Evan Mobley was going to be a big part of the Cavs' success versus the Celtics as they were to win against them. That turned out not to be true. Now, defensively, Evan Mobley was still excellent, but offensively, he wasn't great in this one. 4 of 13 from the field, 9 points, 10 rebounds. It seemed like the length of Kristaps Porzingis really did disrupt him. Where I do credit Evan Mobley is that I thought he did a good job in the interior, especially on the perimeter on defense, but offensively, it wasn't Evan Mobley's night. But let's talk about 2 players who get talked about a lot in this city. Some of it is justifiable, some of it's not. Let's talk about the justifiable person. Georges Niang. Hey, man, I am in a complicated relationship with Georges Niang as far as basketball goes because he does stuff in games sometimes that make me want to burn his shoes so he can never play basketball again. Like when he was going in against Atlanta and he had that stretch when he took 17 threes for no good reason. That is the stuff that makes me want to make sure that Georges Niang never has no hooping shoes again. But then he has days like today where I'm so thankful that Georges Niang went out there hooping. Now, you notice he didn't take 35 shots from 3. Georges Niang is so much better when he realizes that he does not have the green light to shoot 7 threes. He shot 3. He made all 3. Solid shot selection from Georges Niang. 22 minutes, my man gave you 13 points and actually played some good defense and cashed a couple of big free throws down the stretch. I got nothing negative to say about Georges Niang and his performance in this game. Like Ty Jerome really didn't show up that much, but Karis LeVert was hooping. 6 of 11, 1 of 4 from 3. Not great from 3, but I thought he did well. I thought his length on defense was also very helpful to have out there. Look, the Cavs need their longer players. We don't have very many long players, but we need them back, right? Like that's why Dean Wade matters to this Cavalier rotation a ton. But let's talk about Darius Garland. A lot of people talking a lot of garbage about Darius Garland. And it's funny to me, right? Darius Garland has been playing great all season. He had one bad game on national TV, and there it is. Everybody who has been holding their tongue, who has not had the courage to say this when it isn't popular to say it, right? Like holding their tongue, not wanting to say something, wanting to hide when it's convenient about Darius Garland. All of a sudden, they came out the woodworks, right? All these people were saying nice stuff about Darius Garland, and then he has that one bad game, and people act like Darius Garland has never played good in the clutch ever. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The flip-flopping that people do on Darius Garland is ridiculous, and I'm glad he made y'all look stupid. I am so thankful he made every single one of y'all that be out here just every time, just watching Darius like a hawk. Every time he gets a turnover in the big game, every time he doesn't make a shot in the big game, y'all are on this man's back, dripping on his sweat, waiting for him to mess up. I'm glad that Darius made you look like a fool today. All this talk about Darius Garland not being able to play well in the clutch, not being able to play well versus top tier opponents, not being able to play well against in big games, even though he's played well in every big game this season but one. He's played well against every top tier team they played this season but one, right? Every single one, he's played well. Every playoff team they played against, he played well. Except for this one game versus Boston. But people let that one game run away. And you know what those same people are going to do? They're going to act like this game doesn't count. Like, oh, no, it wasn't a national TV game, so it's not a big game. Like we weren't playing the Boston Celtics. Like that wasn't an important game for them, right? This is the stuff that drives me nuts about Darius. It takes all the evidence in the world for people to be like, okay, I was wrong about Darius. But to spout some wrong garbage about him, it takes them like 10 seconds of evidence to be like, oh, no, Darius is bad at this, actually. We need to get rid of Darius. People are so thirsty to jump on Darius's back on something. Well, you know what Darius Garland did today? He went 4 of 6 from 3. He went, 5 of 12 from the field. And he had 22 points. And oh, by the way, made like 4 super clutch free throws. I think like 6 super clutch free throws. Back to back to back to back. Saved the game. And he's not clutch there. Then you don't win that game. So I'm tired of hearing. I need more evidence than one game before people want to come on the air and talk about Darius Garland being a bad clutch player. I need more evidence than that for this season. Okay? Save me with all of that. Talking about some games he played bad when he was coming off of jaw surgery, when he was 20 pounds lighter than what he plays at normally. Like, the bar for just garbage on Darius Garland is just so low, but then for the bar for Darius Garland to kind of disprove some of these myths is just so high. It's ridiculous. It's a double standard. I don't like it. I don't like the people who keep pushing this. Like, I don't like that energy that they give out there, right? So Darius Garland, I thought played super well here. I'm not in love with how the Cavs played the last minute of this, did the foul thing back and forth. It's not a strategic thing. I understand that the strategy makes sense, that you should foul and they should foul back, and that's the smart thing and the numbers thing to do. I get it. But there's just a part of my soul that hates that as like an adult. Like, that just don't feel honorable to me. I get it. That's what they had to do to win this game. And honestly, it's nice to see what this Cavs team could do, because look, this win is honestly more impressive for me than a win would have been last week when they played the Celtics, because last week the Celtics didn't have Kristaps, and Kristaps is such a huge part of what they want to do, because if the Cavs would have beat them without Kristaps, we know everybody been talking about, oh, what you gonna do when Kristaps is there though? Kristaps going to shut all that down. Everything going to have 22 with Kristaps in there, right? They would have negated the win that way. Well, Kristaps was in there, and the Cavs were able to beat him. That's huge to me, right? Because that's really where Boston is their best, is when Porzingis is able to play a significant minutes. I think Drew Holiday was on the injury report. He ended up playing in this game as well. Look, it's a different world for Boston when they're not shooting out their mind from three. They only shot 34% from three today. So you got them on a rough night shooting at least from three, and they take so many threes that's going to affect their floor percentage too. Cavs did a great job. Look, they were down 11 in the fourth quarter, roared back in this game. This is the heart that you want to see, and this is why you believe that this year is different for this Cavs team. So after 2 bad games, they got back on track. They beat the Boston Celtics, and now let's see what they do for the rest of the season. But that's my thoughts, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And all that excitement, I forgot to mention that Donovan Mitchell was an absolute madman, I tell you, in the fourth quarter of this game. Made back-to-back threes. Cavs don't come back without Donovan Mitchell's effort as well. Look, this is what this 2-guard backcourt is meant to be and meant to function like, right? You didn't get a great